Hello, my name is Will, and this is my attempt at a chess project. Like I emailed, I suffered an unfortunate accident, working a little too quickly and not necessarily as careful as I should have been, a little bit frustrated last night. I typed in my network section star.java instead of star.class and immediately destroyed all of my source code. Fortunately, I kept the class files so I have something to present on how far I got last night before I did that, and we'll go over all of that. That's what I'm going to present on. I spent most of my time writing the chess game, which largely worked. I wasn't able to do all of the chess game logic itself, so the pieces don't move how they're supposed to, though you can see looking at the pawn class over here that some work was done on that. This checks if the move is allowed, it checks if it's the first move, and allows the pawn to move two spaces instead of one on the first move. Um, anyway, that's all mostly pointless for this presentation. Chess 3 runs everything single-handedly, so I was going to go and show off that, but since I started working on the networking section, I don't have a stable version that works here, so I'll just show how everything looks when it runs. For the client stuff, I only put in one client. I was planning to add thread support to support multiple clients, just never got that far. Server handles all of the main game logic. Client doesn't even know what a game is. But gets all of the user inputs and displays the current string, which is the board. The board is just a two-dimensional array of pieces that is displayed as a string, and I'll get into that. So I think everything works here. Well, works as much as it did. So we go into the source code. I use git bash for this, and all of this should be set up and ready to run right away. Server 2, because it is my second attempt that got the farthest, and again, we're operating entirely off the class files. There, it displays a message because I think it's kind of sloppy when it's waiting and doesn't display anything. And now for the client. And here we get that board as displayed as a string. 2, if we enter 2, it displays the unit names and the logic for why they're named that way. But basically, black or white is the first character. The second character denotes the piece type. So R for rook, N for knight. I know it's not actually spelled that way. And then numbers differentiate like units. So if I enter 1, it'll tell me to select a piece. Let's go with white knight 2. Select a row number, because empty spaces, it is an array of pieces, and where piece is null, it just displays the row number and column number. So let's go ahead and move him to 5, 7. And then it goes ahead and displays the current board again, showing the knight has moved to 5, 7. Now, if I go ahead and try to enter another one, the client continues. So if I try to say black pawn, let's say 5, I can then say 3 and 4, and that's where it crashes over in the server, because I kept having an issue where it would continue expecting to get another piece, and I couldn't get it to wait and stop until it got the next input. That was the major stumbling block. Here's an interesting tidbit. It processes moves on the client end as a string, which is denoted by these breaks. or the dashes, which is where it knows to cut the string. And all of this is just error testing or bug testing stuff. Oh, and it shows where it got the connection from. All right. Oh, and to show off the string there. And 3 is just system exit. So that's what I have. It didn't really go according to plan. Um, I was able to recover some of the code itself, but mostly this is from an older version of server and client. I started doing more work on client 2 to get it back to where it was, but it never got back. And I work on an ambulance at the moment with COVID stuff. I just haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to fixing it. So when I made that mistake last night, that was the end of my project.